Welcome to another episode of Out Off Topic. Hello, Brad.
What's going on, Andrew?
Oh, just it's April 1st. No jokes here though.
There is a joke. We're not even recording tonight. Talk to y'all later.
Oh, psych.
Yeah. Psych. Whoa.
Hey, we're all about the 90s.
The
so.
Radwood life. Yeah. Sure.
I mean, it does mean that I started to put summer tires on. I only did them on one. I did it on the Volkswagen.
I only did them on one side. Oh, okay.
Well, the Volkswagen is nice because it doesn't need TPMS reprogram.
Does it still use wheel speed?
Yeah.
Or okay, good.
Yeah.
So it's just like mine.
Yeah, it doesn't even have. They're just regular valve stems. They're not even in the wheels.
Mm-hmm.
So the Crosstrek and then my parents' two cars need it. So I usually do those cars on the same day, so we can just do them at once.
Right. Plus, it's not really 100% time to switch over yet. It's still going to be like 20 degrees there this weekend. So
yeah, it's close enough.
Yeah, and you're not going anywhere. So, and if you do, you have a Subaru with snow tires, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah. So that was one thing I did.
Speaking of April Fools, did you hear Volkswagen's not changing its name?
Yeah.
What a dumb, like one of the worst moves in a long time.
If it was just today and they came out with it, and they're like, today we're Volkswagen, that would have been kind of funny. But
right.
The fact that it came out 3 days before, and then they were like, no, it's totally true. Like telling everybody, like actual
they leaned
news
into
agencies.
So here's the problem. They came up with this admittedly corny April Fool's joke, which a lot of companies do. It's one of those things that marketing.
Honestly,
this is like marketing's Christmas Day. Like they love April Fool's Day. They always do stupid stuff. So they were like, yeah, let's do this great April Fool's joke. And then somehow the press release got leaked. Okay, haha, that was going to be our joke. Moving on, nobody cares.
I kind of liked it if it would just be for electric vehicles.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
I thought that was kind of a cool idea. Just their electric vehicles.
Yeah, I don't know. I do not agree with it because you don't change your branding for the brand name of your vehicle because you want. I mean, obviously everybody would know a Volkswagen was a Volkswagen, but if I bought an electric Volkswagen, I would never call it a Volkswagen.
I guess. All right.
Yeah, picture yourself.
Don't change the whole car company name, but an electric Volkswagen that was called the Volkswagen would be kind of cool.
Okay, I'm with you there. So anyway, the main problem lies with the fact that Volkswagen does not have a good history in the past few years with not telling the truth. So I think the fact that instead of just owning it and being like, hey, this was going to be our joke, ha ha, never mind, you found out about it too soon, they were like, no, it's real.
Yeah.
No, we're totally doing this. Oh, you belong to the actual AP press corps? Yeah, 100%. It's happening. So everybody scrambled and talked about this because that's a huge change. You don't just change the name of your company on a whim.
Yeah.
So they just went through this whole thing and all these press releases and all this stuff. And then they're like, yeah, actually, we're kidding. It's totally April Fool's. Well, it's not even April Fool's Day yet. And you've already had this wave of emotions going through the entire Volkswagen community. Like, you can't lie anymore, Volkswagen. It doesn't end well.
So actually, we are now going to be called Auto Electric Off Topic. So
yeah, Auto On Topic, all electric.
Yeah.
Right. What's that? You write for Jalopnik? Yep, that's us. Write an article about us. Wait. Oh. No, so you can't do that. You need to just own it. You need to just go ahead and say, all right, it was a joke. It's not going to happen. You know, what a dumb release. Or just shut up and don't say anything. Like if the press release came out and they didn't say anything, and then tomorrow they made the big announcement.
Like wink, wink.
Yeah. Tomorrow they made the big announcement that hey, we're now Volkswagen. Then everybody would go, ha, it's April Fool's. I get it. What a great joke. But no, instead they just went ahead and just dug their heels in and were like, no, that's totally legit. Like, that's the thing we would do. You don't believe us? I don't know why you wouldn't believe us. It's not April 1st yet. So I don't know. I disagree with how they did it, especially because it's Volkswagen and they shouldn't be lying anymore.
And then it made me think of like the ones we did for Bentley Publishers, which were like fun and like low stakes. Like we did one year, it was a choose your own adventure repair manual.
Oh, that's pretty good. I have to pause for a second. Sorry, I apologize. All right. Sorry about that, Andrew. Quick little real life getting in the way of podcast life there.
Sure.
Okay. Volkswagen. Awful. What's next?
Speaking of names, and I didn't know this because I'm not up to date totally on pop culture. I try to stay as much as I can, but Lil Nas X, his real name is Montero. First name?
That's an epic first name if you're a Mitsubishi
apparently
Montero
his mom
fan.
was, and she never got one, so she named him Montero. Is the story.
I can say with high confidence that I'm glad my parents didn't name me after a car.
I'm glad I did not name my son Eagle Talon or Mitsubishi Galant VR4. That would be really weird.
It would have been great if you did that. I just wouldn't want to be named that.
But I don't know. It's like apparently, and then I didn't in the same article in Jalopnik. It was Jason Torzinski. I didn't realize that the Montero was like a Spanish hunting cap or soldier's cap from like the 1600s.
Yes, it's weird how far back the name goes and doesn't make much sense as far as vehicles go. But I guess if it's a hunting cap and it's an off-road vehicle, that kind of makes
deep
some
name now.
Some sort of connection.
Once I saw that, I was like, oh, that does make sense. Which brings me to
it's
our buddies over at Drivewell Awesome had some trivia.
Yep, that's all here from Boston
about where the Eclipse got its name, and I did not know this.
Yeah, I'm glad I listened to it last night. I almost wish I hadn't, so you could have given me that trivia, because I never would have gotten it right either. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It does, in their naming scheme. So the Eclipse was named for a famous racehorse from like the 18th century.
So we get the Montero named after a 1600 hat, and the Eclipse named after a 1700s racehorse. So also, if you listen to that episode of their podcast, they also found that Galant was also a famous winning horse race.
I couldn't find that. I don't know where he found that, because the Galant with a single L was a type of music in between like Baroque and classical, apparently, or in the French, it just means a nice gentleman, like a chivalrous gentleman, but it's the French word for that, which would kind of make sense. So their naming scheme, Mitsubishi,
that's one two L's, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Mitsubishi uses one L. So this particular horse named Galant was named Galant Man. And he was born in 1954. He raced at the Kentucky. He was a favorite to win the 1957 Kentucky Derby, and he lost. So because the jockey they're winning the race, and the jockey misjudged the finish line and stood up too early. So that doesn't sound like something you'd name your car after, though. Like this famous horse that, almost was the best and then wasn't quite the best. Perfect. Let's name our car that. Our car is almost the best, but not quite. So that is the racehorse kid called Galant Man. So there's Mitsubishi uses two naming schemes, or historically uses two naming schemes. They use equine, the word, Andrew. So horse based or celestial,
or
so
Greek. There's Greek words in there too.
Yeah, but they're usually within the celestial, are they?
Yeah, not? I mean, a lot of celestial bodies are named after Greek gods and Greek words.
So, like, their engines are the Sirius and the now they're escaping
Saturn,
because I'm on the yes, thank you, Saturn, the Sirius, the Starion is the star of
Not
Orion.
Stallion. Not.
And then the logo, not Stallion. No, definitely not. If you look at their original paperwork for the car, the original advertisements for the car, you can see the star of Orion in the ads. And the reason there's a horse in the ads, which is what has led to this confusion, unfortunately, of the car being called the Stallion from that somewhat almost racist, R's and L's conversation, is the fact that the Mitsubishi car company itself was called Colt in a couple of markets. So they used the horse head as a general logo for the Colt. The C-pillars on my 74 Colt have that same horse head that's in the early Starion brochures. So it's because it was Colt Motor Company versus Mitsubishi Motor Company in places like England in the 70s and early 80s. So that's where the confusion comes from. But the car is definitely not supposed to be called the Stallion. It's the Star of Orion, or the Starion, which again ties into their typical naming
Delica
culture.
is like a Greek goddess or something.
It's probably something to do with the skies too, but I don't know for a fact. So we have to do a deeper dive and do a little more.
It's interesting where you come up with names for stuff. Like your Cressida goes back to a Shakespeare play. That's the earliest version of it, I think.
I don't know, because Toyota at the time was using crowns for their
their
names.
Cressida,
like the Corolla
Cressida was
a crown
a
thing,
queen in it's like in Troy or something. That's it's kind of an obscure Shakespeare play, but it's basically the same story as Romeo and Juliet, from what I understand. I literally looked at the Cliff Notes because I don't ever remember hearing about this, and even in English classes, it's not a very popular play. Apparently, it was back then, but not now. So,
well, Cressida it's the Greek meaning for gold. Is Cressida.
So king's gold,
So that's where it comes from. But actually, what I know about the word Cressida is because, it's 2020 or 2021. Yeah. God, what year is it? 2021. And every time I try to search for Cressida things, one of the things I get is from the Hunger Games, because one of the characters in that apparently is named Cressida. And that's what's popular in, pop culture now. And that's what the majority of search definitions will get you. Which is annoying because I want Cressida car parts, not copies of movies, but whatever. Yeah, I know the Corolla and the Crown and the Corona were all something to do with crowns as well. So that was Toyota's main naming thing there. Maybe Cressida being their luxury car underneath the Crown, because Cressida means gold. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll have to actually dig into that and do an actual episode about the naming culture of cars.
Yeah. No.
Because basically a lot of them are just made up. Somebody's just sitting there going what's this car going to be? Oh, it's going to be a Jetta. Okay, sure, Jetta. That makes sense. For what reason?
Well, Volkswagen's they were using the Winds, like the Golf, the Scirocco.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jetstream, maybe. I don't know. It would be interesting to look into and figure out. I don't claim to know all of them for sure. I know a few, but I don't know all of them. I did know the wind thing, but I wasn't even thinking of that when I said Jetta. So anyway, it's not Volkswagen. Right. It's Volkswagen, Andrew. So come on. All right. Any other car news before we move on?
You said Hyundai's got a pickup truck or something?
Yeah, Hyundai's supposed to come out with a pickup truck in 2022, I think.
But what kind of pickup truck?
So it's going to be like a Ridgeline competitor. So it's going to be a unibody. It's basically their big SUV minus the, back 1/3 of the roof line. And they're going to call it the Santa Cruz, which is, I think they had a Santa Cruz before, did they not?
Santa Fe.
Oh, okay. That's it, Santa Fe.
So I wonder how that works with so maybe because it is a place, so you probably can't trademark it because it's a bike company too.
No. Yeah, well, it's a bike company named after the place,
and that's what they would say is that their vehicle is also named after the place.
Yep, and they're not making the same kind of things. Like Santa Cruz Bicycles isn't going to be like people are going to think that we're making an SUV now. Like it's not. There's not going to be a confusion of products there, so I don't have to worry about that. So, and who knows? It might not be called the Santa Cruz by the time it actually comes out. That's the name of their concept vehicle. So it's going to be a Ridgeline type vehicle, the 4-door, crew cab, unibody. It's interesting. I'm surprised they hadn't done it already. They seem to always have, when something is successful from another brand, then Hyundai.
Aren't they doing like is Hyundai doing like different Korean car company? Hyundai and Kia to me are like the same. Yeah,
they are the same.
They're
the same parent company. It's just like a Pontiac and a Buick. The bodies look different, but
what are they doing?
They're
doing like a Veloster. No, they have a Veloster N.
So Veloster N, and they also has been caught in spy testing, is the Kona N.
So a faster Crosstrek.
The Crosstrek you want. So a Korean version of an STI version of a Crosstrek.
Yeah.
Is how I kind of look at it. I mean, it makes sense. Hyundai's still active in rally. They have the i20, which they don't, sell in this country. But that's their rally car, and it's a hatchback. I've seen a couple of pictures of it in testing. They have it in a white. And then one of the things that's awful about the Kona is the black fender flares. They look terrible on the vehicle. And on the N package car, they're painted white or body color. And if you look at a Kona, it has almost not like super aggressive, but almost box flare styling, which with the flares painted white and the bigger wheels and the lower stance, it kind of looks like if 2021 Lancia Delta Integrale came.
Yeah,
it has that same boxy, like kind of boy racer look that car had.
It looked like that.
Yeah, I definitely dig it, and it's going to be something like a 300 horse all-wheel drive hatchback. Like, I mean, that's pretty cool. The Veloster N has been getting pretty good praise from most of the automotive press and people I know that have driven them. They're saying it's a pretty good car. I mean, you know who's heading the N division, right?
I feel like I did, and now I don't remember.
I don't know his name. I apologize, but he was the. I wasn't prepared to talk about it. He was the guy who has been heading BMW's M division.
I've now moved to N.
So. Yeah, that's pretty much what he did. He'll move on somewhere else later on.
Yeah,
with an O. The Kia O. But anyway, so he's bringing that BMW motorsport technology into the Hyundai line, which is neat to see. And like I said, the reviews and whatnot I've seen of the Veloster have been super positive. So it'll be awesome to see another little. It's kind of like a new version of an Evo or an STI, which we don't have anymore. Well, we have an STI, but it's $60,000 now for some reason. So let's hope they put a manual in it. If they don't, then we'll have to see how it is. Maybe it'll be a good.
I mean, if it's like the Yaris GR.
They'll have both.
Do they have both? I just know you can get it in a manual.
Oh, the Yaris there's an automatic available. I don't know if it's a DSG or what kind it is, but they definitely have a. Anyway, new car talk with Auto Off Topic. I mean, doesn't know jack about new cars.
The Yaris GR is the only thing that's being sold elsewhere that I'm like super disappointed we don't get.
Yep. Nope, I agree with that, and I would love a Golf Wagon R.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other one.
But maybe they're afraid it would eat into like RS4 sales or something, or who knows?
I don't know. I think they should just stop being scared about it and just sell it.
They should just sell it here because they eventually want to go all electric. Just sell all your cool gas stuff and, at least put it out there for us.
We'll forgive you for calling yourself a Volkswagen for a minute.
Exactly.
Maybe. I don't believe anything Volkswagen says anyway, because they've been promising certain electric cars for the past 10 years and they've only delivered a couple. So when are we going to see that ID Buzz? I mean, that was the
it's supposed to come out next year, right? I think.
That's what every non-car person has been, sharing to us for the past 15 years, and we haven't seen it yet. So They do make some of the better full electric cars in the market that aren't, Teslas, but I'm still like calling them Volkswagen. I was still angry. I don't know why I'm angry about that, Andy. Why am I angry about that?
I'm sorry.
It's dumb.
Let it go.
You should be. I can't let it go. It's probably because I own. Maybe in the future I'll be able to get a good deal on a Volkswagen because they'll have to make up for the scandal. I got a good deal on my diesel Jetta because they had to make up for that scandal. Let's see what happens. Going back to the vintage car market. We spoke last week at the end of the episode about the 87 Chrysler Conquest going on for sale. Unfortunately, it did not sell. It was bid up to $8,500, which was strong money for a Starion 10 years ago, but not anymore. Especially not one this well sorted. So, unfortunately, did not get a new owner. Or fortunately, I guess depending on how you're looking at it. Maybe the guy selling it is happy to keep it, but it didn't draw what he wanted for it. I don't know what he did want for it, but it was obviously more than $8,500.
Well, I wonder if it was because it was swapped, and maybe some people that want a Starion, because they're going to pay a lot of money for it, they want a stock one.
Possibly. I wouldn't doubt that. But also at the same note, this is not a backyard hacked car. It's a very well sorted car. So if you were to be in the market for a modified one,
this is true. The Ellis swapped Rabbit pickup did very well.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know what the exact reason was. I love the color. I think you have to be a Mitsubishi, person or know some Mitsubishi history to love the color, because it is that Athens olive, which is the early Galant GTOs and the Galant FTOs were, the rally cars were the same Athens olive green. And in this car here, it clashes a little bit with the red interior. So that might be part of the reason for it. But I mean, I certainly would have paid $8,500 for it. I probably would have paid double that for this car because it is that nice. Not that I can, but I would have if I could have.
There is a Evo 2 or 3 on Bring a Trailer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, on Bring a Trailer this week.
It looked pretty.
Yeah, we'll have to watch that one next. That'll be our next report. Yeah, it's 85,000 miles, so it's a good low mile car. Not so low that you can't use it, but not so high that it's not worn out.
Perfect. It had some blemishes, so you could definitely drive it and not worry too much about it.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to do some predictions for next week?
I mean, lately, I bet it goes for at least 22.
My number was 22.5.
All right.
That's what I was going to say.
22, you'll say 22.5. So,
yeah, just to edge you out a little bit. Which is not my intention. That's exactly what I was thinking when you said 22. The other big car sale news this week was the 75.
Oh, yeah.
Toyota Celica.
This is on Bring a Trailer again. So this is an impact bumper car.
So it's it's different because it's a hatchback car. So it's a liftback. They didn't do a liftback in the United States before the impact bumpers came out. So you can't get one. Okay. So if you want to have that, you need to either convert or import. So you're going to spend more money for a liftback car. They're worth more money for whatever reason. People want the liftback versus the trunk car. They're worth more money, and they're going to sell for more money because the equivalent car in notchback just isn't as desirable. So anyway, this is a 76. It's a bone stock car. It's almost perfect. It has a dash cap somebody put on it at some point because the dash is probably cracked. But other than that, it's all original. It comes with the original wheels, but it has a set of later Celica Super Style wheels, the deeper dish 4-spokes. So, I mean, it looks right in the car. Apparently, it's sold on Bring a Trailer 2 years ago for like $32,000, which at the time was a record for this car. And then apparently this time, 2 more people wanted it than last time because it went to $62,000. It's not a normal price for a 76 Celica by any means. That's a mid 70s Porsche number. Like that's just That's a lot of money. So you had to have two people that wanted this car that bad to bid it up to that price. The story is kind of neat. Did you read the story about who bought it?
Yeah, the person commented on it.
Yeah. So a woman who just apparently got an inheritance had one of these, or her husband had one of these, and then she had him sell it when they had kids. And now she feels bad because she made him sell his car, and he's like, 35 years later, she's like, she wants to pay him back for all he's done for their whole family. So she bought it as a gift. So it's a hell of a gift. I don't know that I would be thrilled knowing that somebody spent $62,000 on a $15,000 car for me. But, I'd be happy that the thought existed,
whatever.
right?
It's worth it to them.
Or I guess maybe it is worth $62,000 now because, again, two people are trying to bid on it. And it's probably the nicest one in existence. Mm-hmm. So, and if you have $62,000 to drop on a 76 Celica, I guess money isn't really an issue. This isn't a person who's like, oh man, I only have $62,000. I better get this one car. So I don't know. Congratulations to the person that bought it. Congratulations to the dude that's going to get it as a gift. Her story is kind of neat. She's planning on having a friend of hers bring it to a car show. And then, when he's waxing a static over it, because I guess he always does with old Celicas, just hand him the keys. So,
well,
it's a pretty neat story.
Go on, bring a trailer.
Yes. How much of a car guy is he? If he doesn't already know about it. Maybe he does. Maybe there's some subliminal messaging he was doing to his wife that he wanted that car. I don't know. It's a crazy story that over $62,000. I don't. The world of vintage Japanese cars is a hard one to predict.
Sure is.
I'm glad I bought mine back when I did, because if Toyotas are going this way, then I'd be in trouble. I certainly did not pay $62,000 for my Cressida. I didn't even pay anywhere near that number, nor would have I. It's a serious amount of dollars. So, can we talk about car shipping, Andrew?
All right, go for it.
I've never had an issue shipping a car.
I've only done it once.
I've done it 2, 3, 5 times, 6 times. I've done it a bunch. There's 2 different companies that are. So I called a couple people that I've used in the past, and neither of them could help me because the route is not Boston to Phoenix. It's Georgia.
Yeah, which is kind of a weird southern route. It's not a snowbird route.
Right. So they don't have any drivers in that. So I had to go on U-Ship, and there's 2 companies. There's Montaway and Swift Auto Transport.
I used Montaway.
That
was Phoenix to my house.
Well, I've used both. And I used Swift this time. I guess they're Florida based.
Yeah, they're right there.
They were happy to take my money, and then they're supposed to have, with 1 to 5 days, have a truck ready to go for me. Well, it's now been 6 days, and they're not answering my phone calls. They sent me a text message back yesterday saying, we're looking for a driver. And I was like, okay, any ETA? Well, we'll know when we have a driver. Well, that's not acceptable. So I need to figure out now what the best move is. I don't know if I can, I guess because I went through U-Ship, I'm hoping it's like an eBay where it's a protected
maybe
transaction. Because when you use U-Ship, you don't pay the vendor, you pay U-Ship, and U-Ship gives you a payment code, and you give that payment code to the driver when he gets here. So I'm hoping that will cover me.
Like a broker. They're exactly like a broker.
They're a broker.
I think I'm thinking of, they are exactly that.
I think they're yes, they're kind of like a broker, a broker. So hopefully they can give me my money back and I can go through Montaway this time and then never use Swift again, because it's getting irritating. Because in my previous experience, 5 days is enough to not only make the payment, but have the car.
Oh, especially from, it's closer than Northeast to Phoenix. It's about 1,000 miles closer.
Absolutely. That's significantly closer. I was actually looking at possibly flying out there and driving it home. And it's 26 hours, 26 hours
like 40.
So, I mean, Right. Theoretically, you could do it in a little over a day. You could definitely do it in a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You flew out on a Friday night and you could be home by Sunday, no problem. But I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to add another 2,200 miles or whatever on the car. And it's still springtime. There could be weather, and I just didn't want to deal with it. I just wanted to get it on a truck and get it out here because at the end of the day, the cost isn't much different between driving it and shipping it when you factor in, hotel stays,
Exactly.
airports, or airfare, and food.
Fuel.
I guess you need food either way, and fuel. Yeah, that's the big one. So it doesn't really make a huge, unless you want the road trip, which I'm never one to turn down a road trip.
It doesn't sound the
doesn't
car
save a ton of money.
Yeah, the car's in good shape, but it hasn't been driven a lot in a long time. I don't really want to shake it down on a 2,200 mile drive.
Yeah, so I sold it in 2016, and it's gone like 3,100 miles since I sold it.
You'd shake it down, but you want to shake it down around your neighborhood, like going to Cars and Coffee for a couple miles.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a couple of trips planned with the car this year, so I didn't want to put, a couple thousand miles on it now, just to put, hundreds of miles on it later, because I'd like to bring it to California for the Toyota Fest. I definitely want to bring it up north here for the Route 66 Vintage Japanese Show. Like, there's a lot of places I want to take it this coming season, and I don't want to just pile miles on for no reason at all. Especially when, again, the cost of transport is generally pretty equal with the cost of driving the vehicle. So I think with purchasing the additional insurance, it was still $1,300. So it's not super expensive. I mean, it's not like it's free, but it's not cost prohibitive to do either. So I'm a little annoyed. I had reached out to the DWA guys because they had a deal going with a transport company for a while, but I guess they don't anymore. So I was like, I'll just try U-Ship then. But So anyway, I'm annoyed because the car's paid for, the title's here, it's insured in my name, I paid for transport, and now it's been a week and nothing. When I feel like the car should be, almost here.
I got my registration for the Q45.
So
I went last Friday. Excellent. And it took unlike the G20, it wasn't done the same day. It took 3 or 4 days.
So a temp tag had a purpose.
Yeah, but I got the temp tag today. You don't get it till they process it and you pay for it. That's what's so stupid about it. But then tomorrow I'll probably have the hard plates in the mail. Yeah, it's
so weird. The temp tag.
You should be able to pay for the temp tag, and they should be able to hand it to you when you're handing over the paperwork.
Or you go home and print it off. At worst case, that's how it works here. You can print off your temp tag from your home computer. So
and then if there's anything wrong with your paperwork,
that's super annoying. Then
they'll just void it, and then you can't drive around that temp tag. You'll just get pulled over. It's
yeah, it doesn't make any sense that we can't just, everything is done through the computer anyway. Why can't we just have that option? You paid the money, you taken the money.
That's the thing. They don't. I dropped the paperwork off. You don't pay anything now at the registry in Massachusetts. Remember you used to pay up front. You used to have to write a check for up until I don't know. I feel like 2017 they didn't.
I was gonna say 2017.
Yeah, they didn't take credit cards. It was really recent.
I think I had a checkbook. Specifically because of the registry of my last account in Massachusetts.
So you literally wait, you scan a code, you get a ticket number on your cell phone, so through text, which is nice. You can just sit in your car. You could go over to the Dunkin' Donuts in the parking lot or something or whatever. Which they should just keep that for all the time, so you don't have to wait inside of the registry.
Yeah,
that's fine. I don't mind that I have to, because then once you get in there, you're literally there's a person in front of you, and then so you're not waiting there for very long. And it's just to make sure that all your paperwork's filled out right. Fair. Because a lot of people don't fill it out right.
We could eliminate filling out paperwork and just go on the computer.
Yeah, because all my stuff from the insurance company came as a PDF, and then I used a PDF to fill it out.
Yeah.
I just typed it out. But yeah, you got to hand over the title, and they just make sure the title's good. And then they put it in a folder, and she puts it in line, and then it takes 3 days apparently for whatever reason. Even though like before, when the registry was normal, they would have just handed you the plates that day, which I don't really understand.
Mm-hmm. So
Maybe they like
did you
distribute
pay?
these things to people working from home. I don't know.
Did you
No,
pay up front? So do they know how much it's going to
no.
cost when you go there? So when do you find out what it
A few
costs to
days
register your
later, when you
car?
get the email, it just asks you to pay the bill.
Oh, it's so weird. So I had a similar
Now,
experience
sorry. Now,
recently
luckily, these are
because,
like cheap cars, so I don't really care that. Like, I know the sales tax is going to be like $100. Like, I don't really care. But yeah, if you had like a brand
right.
new car, you're like, well, I suppose if you know the price of the car, you're going to pay full. You know what the tax rate is. It doesn't really matter.
Well, I'm wondering if the dealerships still have the end around, because dealerships have, I forget what they called it, but it was like mass
They used to do it
RMV
in house,
access,
depending on the
so they
dealership,
could
if they
give
were
you
big enough.
yeah. Oh, exactly. So they would be able to get plates. They had plates at the dealership. They
Yeah,
get
it
plates.
totally depended on the dealership. Like the Mitsubishi dealer, so small, didn't do it. Infiniti dealership, because they're big, yes.
Well, in that little Volkswagen dealer we bought my Jetta at, they did
Yeah, that
it.
was not like
Those
a
plates
rinky
came
dink
from the dealer.
dealership, though, either.
Yeah. But I just re-registered my '68 Camaro in Massachusetts.
It's
It's been off the road.
it's
It's been
totally online,
insured, but
though.
off the road. Well, I had a hard time figuring this out because I was trying to figure it out, but the car is still technically registered in my parents' name
Mm-hmm.
because that's their house. So just for insurance reasons, it makes more sense to leave
So
it
your dad would have
registered
to
in their
log in
name
to
because
his
it's
account on the RMV website. It shows. So now it shows all of your
okay.
cars. So the weird thing, it's because this is what's strange to me. It has every car, including my '89 Montero, is still on there because the title says active, but the registration is
Yep.
canceled. But I think because it got sold to a guy in Connecticut, and Connecticut doesn't
Out of
issue
state.
titles
Yeah.
for over 25 years old. So like it never went away. So like it just lives there now,
Okay.
which is really weird because my WRX, which went to a kid in Connecticut, I think, or it's like Connecticut or Rhode Island, they must issue titles because it's not 25 years old. That car disappeared from my list.
Right.
Like there must be some communication
Hmm.
between states. Like, okay, that car is not here anymore. It's here.
And because there's no title issue,
No,
it didn't do anything on the
it's
Montero.
forever attached to my name, apparently.
Hmm. That's strange. Well, I just thought it was funny because he, I guess, gave the paperwork to our insurance agent and had the insurance agent's registry runner do all the work. So it sounds like he doesn't have to do that. He can just go online
Oh
and do it
yeah,
now.
to renew stuff. Yeah, it also.
It wouldn't be renew. It would be new plates because it's been off the
Oh,
road. Like the plates were transferred to a new car. So I had a 3 or 4 digit antique plate on the car. So that was on the car from, when I started driving it at 16 until I moved out here and took it off the road because he wanted
okay.
that
Well,
load
that's
number
why.
antique plate for one of his cars.
That's different.
So he
But
transferred it
now,
over.
if
So
you
it will be
had in
different
2 years
then.
from now when you had to renew it, you just go online. It's all listed out. This is very
Well, hopefully
specific
2 years
talk
from now,
about
it'll be
mass
here in my
R&V.
garage. Well, I mean, it's
So
interesting for somebody living in Massachusetts, and for somebody not living in Massachusetts,
so
they can
the
learn
cool
about
thing too is
Massachusetts.
that you can just go on and just double check stuff. So like it does have an alert that in August my Talon registration does expire, and it says like you can renew it now, but I'm just going to wait till a month before, which is what you normally do.
To get pulled over and arrested.
Well, that's the funny thing. There
Is
was a
it?
mistake
Is it?
on my Montero registration last year. Haggerty made the mistake. It's like it was like one digit off, and I was looking at something else on there, and I was like, it was like 99 Montero registration canceled. It's like what? So I was like, hold on, no. And I like looked in Haggerty. I was like, no, it's insured. Why would it be canceled? So I like emailed Haggerty, and they figured out it was their mistake. The VIN was wrong. They contacted the registry and
Okay.
fixed it, reinstated it.
See, that's a funny Massachusetts thing too, where if your insurance is not up to date, they'll cancel the
Mm-hmm.
registration.
And they won't
It's
tell
not
you.
like that in other places.
I wouldn't know unless
Yeah.
unless a police officer ran my plates and pulled me over.
Which now they would be able to do because they have those,
Well,
plate scanners, and
no,
they
they
just
can just
bring
do
up.
it on their their laptop. I've been shown it. If they're just going along, they can just put stuff in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they have those plate scanners, but a lot of them, not every car has that. It's like,
No, but the ones, the cops who have laptops that have to be behind you, but if one of those just was driving near you, it would pick up your plate and it would flash an alert on their dash, I assume, that says,
yeah,
expired registration or canceled registration. So they could,
yeah.
come over and pull you over. So we'll defer that question to our police officer in Massachusetts listener.
Yeah, and it's not like, I mean, it would just be a stupid mistake. It's like an annoyance. It's not like, it wasn't really anybody's
Right.
fault.
Well, I mean, try telling the guy writing the ticket for you for having an unregistered car and towing your car, and you're still responsible for the ticket.
That depends how
tow.
you act about it, right? Like,
I think unregistered is pretty much towable no matter what. They're not going to let you drive home.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to pay that ticket or pay the tow at least. If you can prove the ticket in court, I'm sure you can win it, but you'd have to pay the tow no matter what. So it'd be annoying nonetheless.
It was annoying because I was driving the truck around a lot.
So does the Mass RMV's website, is it run by Massachusetts or is it an outside company? Okay, because we have one here. They call it the MVD Now, and it's obviously a outside company doing it. It's not Arizona doing it because it has, like, in the site map, you can find other states, it seems. So, but it works the same here, where I can go in and I can look at all my cars that are registered and see when they expire and, do all my stuff through there except for register a new vehicle. That's the only thing that requires going to a registry or it's called here the MVD, the Motor Vehicle Department. So I do have to go to the Motor Vehicle Department to register the car in my name. Actually, I usually go to the third party because it's open late and doesn't require an appointment. They charge $20 extra, but it's fully worth it. Skips that whole RMV issue, which right now I guess is nightmare.
Well, yeah, I was happy. My license expired in 2020, so I was happy that I was able to go to AAA because I'm a AAA member, and that was way easier. And they were also, I thought they wouldn't be able to do the real ID, and I'd have to wait. But they're like AAA. Like when they confirmed my appointment, I was like, yeah, I just need it. And I was like, you can't do the real ID. She's like, no, we can do that. I was like, oh, that's awesome, because that would be really annoying to have to go back to the registry just to upgrade it to the real ID.
Right. Well, yeah, the third parties here, they're owned, independently owned and operated, and they can do almost anything a registry can do. So it's really nice because they get some that are open like 24 hours.
Well, when you have that many people that live there, like, you need that.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first moved out here, I went to the MVD, and it was, a Tuesday afternoon at 3:00, and the line was ridiculous. So when you go to these independent places, because people want to save that $20, and to me, I'd rather spend the $20 in the service fee than wait in line for 2 hours. So it's fully worth it. But anyway, any project car updates, Andrew? Other than registering?
Not really. Nothing to announce.
Cool. Me either. I've done nothing. I was thinking when we were getting ready to record today, I was like, I have absolutely zero updates for any of the cars. That means it's been at least a week.
I don't remember if I talked about trying to test fit those wheels. I think I did. I think we did.
I don't think so. Yeah. You did. Yes. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah. I got something else for that, but we'll talk about when I get those.
Yeah. Make sure they come in one piece. Well, the Suez Canal is open, so you should get them now.
Yes.
So. All right, sir.
Well, there's some Scale project car unfortunate news, right? Yeah.
Is there? What's the unfortunate
the Hot Wheels designer that passed away?
Oh my goodness! Sorry.
You're more familiar with him than I am.
So
I was going to let you talk about it.
Yeah. We should definitely give a moment of silence for Ryu Asada. He was a Hot Wheels designer and an all-around good guy. Everybody that knew him loved him. He was pretty prolific in the auto car culture, I should say, in the the JDM world and the Radwood era world, people knew him pretty well. Um, if you have a Hot Wheels car that's of a vintage-ish Japanese car or any kind of car from the Radwood era, more than likely he did it. Um, he just he did most of the castings that you love. He did, the Volvo 850, um, the new Dajiban, the Honda S2000. What else? The FRS he did. Um,
NSX.
just the 90 NSX is one of his. The 944 with the stethoscope in the back, because when he was first battling cancer, which is what he unfortunately passed from at 42 years old. Um, his doctor drove a 944 turbo, so when he made the 944 casting, it was for him, and he put a stethoscope in the back. If you look through the back hatch, the Integra Type R, the 72 Chevy Love, like just the new Civic Type R. Just so many castings are his designs, and I was talking to somebody about it, and they're like, well, he didn't design the cars. He's just making replicas of, actual cars that exist. But
You got to
what you
scale the
don't
car.
realize
Yeah.
with these Hot Wheels cars, well, you have to scale the car down. You have to make it fit the available
Yeah.
wheels that you have and make it look proportional. And then the biggest challenge is it needs to be, I think, the most amount of parts, not counting wheels, is 4. So you can have the chassis, the interior, the windows, and the body. And you need to make it so that it's assembled. It can be assembled in a way that looks correct and doesn't have small parts so children won't choke on them, and is made in that, in that 4-part system. So if you have a car that you want headlights on, you got to design a way for the headlights to be part of the same clear as the windows. Or sometimes they'll make, the interior part will be
Like
molded
the
into the chassis
850.
of the car, so they can have an extra piece.
The
Is
850,
that
the
how it was in the
rocker, like
850?
kind of almost from the bottom of the door panels down, is the chassis.
Right. Yeah. So you need to make it so that you can have the detail you want it to have, and not just be, a generic looking blob of a car. So there's a lot of work that goes into designing a Hot Wheels car. It's not just take a picture of a car, right click, 50%
guess,
size, send
yeah,
a scanner. Like
it would be
it's a
like
lot more than that.
where you have a book and then they want a movie of the book, but the book doesn't port directly to a movie. You have to have a screenwriter to adapt it. So it's kind of like that.
Yep. Yep. And a lot of these cars, Hot Wheels is known for, being a little more aggressive than a Matchbox car, for say. Like they do less factory stock and more like somewhat hot rod stuff. And, the stuff he'd come out with was, let's see, he made a new casting of the 91 Miata, and he added like a little duckbill spoiler in the back and like the R-type spoiler in the front and a roll bar, and he made his own little Hot Wheels touches to it. And it was just the stuff he did was, I was looking through my collection of opened Hot Wheels cars the other day to do a post on our daily diecast of castings that he made, and the majority of the ones that I've bought in the past 2 years turns out were
Yep.
ones he made. So just because you have the same taste, and I unfortunately I never met him. I met him in passing. We were at the same place, but he had a line of people waiting to talk to him, so I didn't get a chance to say hi or introduce myself. But I never had a chance to meet him. But I have some pretty good friends that were pretty close with him, and they all had nothing but nice things to say about the man. So it's a shame that he passed. He had a hard fought battle with cancer, but he's 42 years old and
Yeah,
no
it's
longer with us.
unfortunate.
So
Did you?
yeah, I mean, he was just like us, Andrew. Like he had, some 90s Japanese cars. He had a collection of vintage Tamiya RC and vintage Tamiya model kits and Hot Wheels cars. And he was basically, would have fit in just perfectly fine with us.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, cancer,
So yeah.
terrible.
Yep. Sucks. But the good news is that there's a few cars of his that haven't come out yet. So there'll be, that's a kind of a neat legacy to leave, posthumously. He'll have some new castings coming out. They did the Land Cruiser coming out pretty soon. A Honda N600 coming out pretty soon. I think the Nissan R390 just came out. There's a 99 Civic Type R coming out pretty soon, a Porsche 935 coming out. So he's got a bunch of stuff coming that's will probably be a hot commodity because of the unfortunate story, but it'll be neat to see it on the shelves at least.
Right.
So,
which I believe that 850 is coming out in yellow.
it's coming out in a premium line.
Right.
Yellow.
It's like wagons or something. I think they have like a 122.
They have a 122 wagon. Actually, is that a 125?
Probably.
Do they do the same naming then? Yeah. It's a 120 series Volvo wagon on 8-spoke wheels. And yeah, unfortunately, probably they will be. But if I find some, I'll let you know.
I don't even want the whole set. I just want like a
not.
couple of those things that I want.
Yeah, the Nissan wagon is really neat. And the 120 series wagon is really neat. I don't even want the 850 because I have the pop race one. I don't need the Hot Wheels one. It's not as nice, you know?
Yeah, but you're a completionist and you'll end up with it anyways.
I'm stopping that, Andrew. I'm not being a completionist anymore. I'm actually, unfortunately, this is not going to come out in time, I don't think, but tomorrow night, I have a table at a local Hot Wheels vending spot, diecast vending thing. Okay. I'm going to be selling a bunch of stuff. So
interesting.
Yeah. Here, get this. All right. So where is the last place you expect there to be a Hot Wheels selling event?
What do you mean? Like a venue?
Yeah.
The last place.
They have these in Massachusetts as well.
In Elks Hall?
No, that's the first place.
Yeah, I was just like a church basement. I would expect.
Yeah. No, a Denny's restaurant.
We don't have those anymore.
Are they all gone?
Yes.
Huh. I thought they still existed. Anyway, so there's a Denny's There's a lot of Denny's restaurants here in town, but there's one particular Denny's here in town that I don't know if somebody who works there or owns that place is a diecast enthusiast. But up until the whole COVID thing happened, once a month on Thursdays, you go and you buy your vending table for $2. Okay. And you can set up all your stuff, and all of the area collectors supposedly come and, buy and sell and trade rare and weird stuff.
Interesting. I don't know if that. I feel like there's a much more active collecting scene where you are.
I think there must be, because I don't find anything in the stores anymore.
And you even brought me to that store that just sells diecast collectibles, but it's also like a shipping place, which was helpful because I shipped my parts back that I pulled from the junkyard that day.
They sell stamps. They do USPS and UPS, and they also sell diecast cards.
Weird.
So it's. I mean, I guess you can't make it 100% just selling diecast cars. So you need to have a side hustle. But it's called Cubbyhole Collectibles. I mean, it's super nice. If you're ever in Phoenix, you should definitely check it out. It's a super cool place. The dudes that run it are actually super nice guys. At first, I was a little annoyed because they had all the new stuff all the time. And I couldn't find it in stores. And obviously, they have a bit of a markup over buying it.
People are scalping them from the stores.
But they're not really the scalpers there. They get what they get when they get it. And they are offering you service if you don't want to search for it. It's there. So
yeah,
it is what it is. It's I have a bit of an issue with it. At the same time,
dealers aren't the bad guys. It's the people making the drugs.
I don't know if we go that much of an analogy on that, but it's okay. It's there's on the other side of it. So this is what you do on a Saturday. This has been my Saturday for the past couple of months. So you go, if you're in Phoenix, you go to Scottsdale for the 4 till 4 show. After that, you head back, you hit up the Hot Wheels store because there's some regulars there who are actual car people, and you have chats with those guys. And then on the back side of the building, there's a really good taco shop. Okay. So you do coffee at 4 till 4, tacos across from the hobby shop, and Hot Wheels cars. So it's a
That's
pretty good Saturday morning.
That's a pretty good
It's a pretty
Saturday
good start
morning
to the
if you're
weekend.
like a 15-year-old.
It's also listen, man. It's also a pretty good Saturday morning if you're a 40-year-old. So I don't want to hear it. Don't judge me. You went with me and you bought things.
Did.
So suck it. Anyway, on that note, I think it's a show.
It's a show. All right. So as always, follow us on Instagram, Auto Off Topic, Facebook, Auto Off Topic Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram, Race and Anger, or Race and Anger on Twitter. And Bragg, where can they find you?
Simply and easily at TSISS350
Cool.
on the Instagram.
As always, keep cars analog and aim for the road.